final story in Surah Al-Kahf is in relation to Dhul Qarnayn. This story, including the story of the people of the cave, was revealed in response to the efforts by the Jews of Mecca to discredit the Prophet, peace be upon him. Their scholars had knowledge of certain tales only known to the religious elite amongst them, and they challenged the Prophet, peace be upon him, by giving him certain key words and asking him to describe these stories in full to prove that he was indeed a prophet. Not having Jewish or Christian ancestry, these stories were not known to the community of Mecca at that time and were not part of their traditions. So, the only means of which the Prophet, peace be upon him, could have told them the details was if the story was revealed to him by the Almighty Allah through the angel Jibril. When asked to describe these incidents, the Prophet, peace be upon him, asked the questioners to return the following day and that he would answer their questions. But he omitted from saying, Insha'Allah, God willing. This was a tiny mistake on his part, but Almighty Allah swiftly admonished him for this oversight. Usually when challenged by the disbeliever, or if faced with an issue that would require divine guidance to solve, Jibril, peace be on him, would reveal the revelations to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and the answer to challenges were provided quickly, if not the same day itself, then within a short period of time after that. In this case, however, day after day passed, and as time went by, Angel Jibril, peace be on him, did not materialize. As time passed, people speculated that the Prophet, peace be upon him, did not rise up to the challenge thrown by the Jews. This was a trial from the Almighty Allah, and also for admonishing the Prophet, peace be upon him, for not saying, Insha'Allah, God's willing, before making a commitment. This reminder is in fact recorded in the Quran. So eventually, however, Almighty Allah revealed the answers to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and they are contained in the 18th chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Kahf. So who exactly is Dhul Qarnayn? It is popularly believed that Dhul Qarnayn refers to Iskandar Dhul Qarnayn or Alexander the Great of Macedonia. However, the historical details do not match, and further, Alexander the Great of Macedonia was not a believer in Islam, whereas Dhul Qarnayn was a pious believer. There are many theories of who this man was and in what era he lived. However, the precise identity of Dhul Qarnayn is not described in the Quran and Hadith, and the Almighty Allah did not provide us with the details for a wisdom that he knows. As with many other Quranic stories, Allah only reveals essential information to us, and if details are not revealed, then the knowledge of such details is inconsequential to our journey of Iman, and we should not inquire or debate any further about it. What is known is that Dhul Qarnayn was a man endowed by Allah with many talents and abilities, including military prowess, the ability to rule kingdoms, and extensive practical knowledge on many aspects of life. He was also a pious and steadfast Muslim who constantly contemplated over the signs of the Almighty Allah and lived his days traveling from one destination to the next in order to establish justice in the land and alleviate the suffering of the people. Dhul Qarnayn traveled extensively in his life. It is said that he ruled the earth from east to west, but it is noted that Almighty Allah only revealed part of this story to us. Therefore, this video is based on what is revealed in the Quran, and will not cite information which is not verified by authentic sources. One of his travels brought him to the west, where he found the sun setting, as if in a spring of dark mud, In this location, he discovered a community who were living under oppressed conditions. So Qarnayn went into the community and led them to the correct path and ways of life in accordance with the rulings of the Almighty Allah. He liberated the community from the oppression that they were subject to, inflicted punishment upon the oppressors, criminals, and evildoers, and aided the weak and oppressed, until justice was established in the land. He said, having completed his task, he and his army continued on their journey, until one day, against the rising sun, he found a people who were backward and ignorant, living in the open without any shelter or protection against the sun. He educated the community there on what they needed to do. He shared and imparted his knowledge to them, taught them the skills required, such as carpentry and agriculture, and then continued on his journey. The next part of his journey is the most astounding, where he met a curious community, so far removed that he barely understood their language.